Welcome back everyone to the Pawnstorm YouTube channel. In this video we're talking about specific opening traps that you can use in your games, and I have 5 examples for you up here on the screen. Yeah, hopefully by the end of this video you'll learn how to use these to win against your opponent, and hopefully you'll become more you will watch out for these in your games if people are using them against you, and you'll be on your guard. Alright, so the first example that I have for you is a very classic one. It is the Scholar's Mate. So Scholar's Mate, I'm going to go through these fairly quickly so that I can cover a good amount in this time. I don't want to make a super long video. So Scholar's Mate is when you're with the white pieces and you play e4 and your opponent plays e5 and you go queen h5. Now there's a variety of different ways you can play this. Sometimes people go queen f3, but in this example you're going to go queen h5, and your opponent cannot do anything with this square, like this area right here. They can't touch these, so not there. In this case I'm going to have them go here, and your next move will be bishop c4, and basically if your opponent does not move, you'll give a mate on f7. So if black goes b6, you will give a mate, and that's checkmate. So there's the first example. Scholar's Mate can happen. It usually happens at the very lower levels, but I mean, even if you're not paying attention, people aren't paying attention, I mean, you can get away with this even if you're 11, 1200. I don't know how often it happens, but it definitely happens up there. Again, I don't know how often. The second mating pattern I have for you is actually, this is more of like a traps, but also it is kind of like a mating pattern video, I guess. So the second one I have for you is we're talking about rook mates. So the most simple is a back rank checkmate. So you can bring your rook to the end of the board and just mate the king, and the king is checkmated. That's checkmate right there. Again, we can add a different layer to this. So in some cases, that square that you want to bring the rook to is defended. So maybe by a queen. So like in this case, you cannot go there directly because it's defended by the queen. See, the queen sees that square as well. So in this case, you can play a move like queen takes rook, and at first you're like, why would you play that move? That just loses the queen. But then you can give a mate. So you can use this to add like a second add-on to, like, you can add a different layer to this mate, right? So you can, in some cases this does happen where you can sack a piece like this, and in this case the queen is guarding that square, but you can take. And some people are like, wait, why would you do that? But then if you can pay attention to these patterns, you will get more used to noticing them in your games, and then you will be more used to defending against it in your own games. So if your opponent sees this and they're trying to do this to you, you will know that, oh, he taught me this in his video about defending. And so yeah, that's the second one I have for you. The third one is a fun one. So I've faced this in my own games. I've actually got away with this in my own games. We're gonna just open up a new board here. All right, so we're looking at the Staunton Gambit with the Dutch defense. So the Dutch defense is when the white plays d4 and the black responds with f5. This is the Dutch defense. There are many variations. At some point I might make a video on that, because I might start making opening videos. I'm not sure. Let me know, guys, if you want to see that. Basically, black tries to take control of the center in a kind of a unique way with this f5, knight f6, and maybe in sometimes they play d6, knight d7, and then push e5. Anyway, we're not looking at openings today. We're looking at this openings trap. So this is the Staunton Gambit, and we will reply with e4. Now, in this case, black has to take. So black takes, and then you play queen h5. And the only way for black to get out of this is to play g6, and then you play bishop e2. And at first you're like, okay, so why would I just I'm giving up my queen for nothing? It's like, but wait. If they take, that's mate. So don't be too hasty to judge it before you notice. Okay? So that is checkmate. At first, some people might be thinking, oh, but you can block with something, can you? Nope, the knight is on the wrong square. And this is a dark squared bishop. And the rook is gets stuck in the corner. So that doesn't make sense. But yes, that's absolutely mate. And yes, as I've said, I have got away with this in my own games. Not very often. I probably have, like 3 to 5 games that I've actually gotten away with this and won the game in 5 moves. So that's a fun one. But again, yeah, so this is the Dutch defense. They have to play the Dutch defense. And sometimes they won't even accept this. They won't even accept this sometimes. But, a lot of the times they do. Because at the beginner level, people are like, oh, free pawn, I want that. But then you hit them with this queen h5 thing. And if they block, if they fall for this, I mean, they're dead meat. Because they're just like, oh, boom, done, game's over. You hear that click on chess.com, and it's like the game is done. And then they see the game review symbol. And it's like the best feeling ever when I got away with that. All right, so moving on from that, I've got 2 more to show you. So next we're talking about the Anglund Gambit. So Anglund Gambit, not England Gambit, it's the Anglund Gambit. It's spelled E-N-G-L-U-N-D, so Anglund Gambit. Anglund Gambit goes like this. And this is a fun one to play around with. I haven't tried this a lot, but when I did, I got some very nice positions out of it. So let's go through it. So with this opening, I'm actually going to flip the board because this is actually played with the black pieces. So let's flip the board. And let's get into the Anglund Gambit. Anglund Gambit starts with d4 and you play e5. So this is, if you notice anything about this, it kind of looks a little bit like a Scandinavian, whereas this is e4, d5, and then they take and you bring out the queen and it leaves some very nice positions like this. Actually, Gotham Chess made a very good video about this. He made his own variation of this opening, and it's a very good, you should check that out. He made a very good video about that. But anyway, we are not talking about the Scandinavian today. We are talking about the Anglund Gambit. So Anglund Gambit starts with d4, e5. If they take, you play knight c6, attacking the pawn. Attacking the pawn right here. And they play knight f3, defending. Then you will follow up with this move, queen e7. Now at first, queen e7 looks a little bit strange, but I mean it's normal. I mean it's not normal, but it makes sense. You're attacking the pawn with 2 pieces and you want to take it. Now, they obviously, in this case, they want to hang on to the pawn, so they play a move like bishop f4. You will next play this move, queen b4. Checking the king, attacking the pawn, and attacking the bishop. Now, a lot of people, when they see this trifecta fork, will be like, oh, I don't want to lose my king, I don't want to lose my bishop. The pawn is the least valuable, the king is most valuable, the bishop is the second most valuable. So, let me save the bishop and the king by moving back d2, and I attack the queen. Now, they do lose the pawn, but it's just a pawn, whatever. You will then take the pawn. Now, there are 2 ways white can play this. One is a good way to play. The second is a bad one, and it'll lead you to mating them in 8 moves. Let's start out with the good way. The best way to defend against this is they can play knight c3. Knight c3 defends everything. You cannot take the rook, you cannot take the knight, you cannot take this. You have to get out. Now, instead of just getting out like that, you can play a move like bishop e4, which is actually seen in the other variation as well. Now you are attacking this knight with 2 things, and they just have 1 defender. So, a lot of people will go rook b1, rook b1. In that case, you will go queen a3, and you know, if you play the England Gambit, it's kind of actually just a win for white, because if you don't know how to play it, you really are just going to get a losing position like this. This is not an easy position to play with black. I mean, if white goes rook b3, then I mean it's really just not a good position for you. I mean, there's some positions where they can just blunder, but you really have to be knowing what you're doing and bring back the pieces, and you know, you really have to know what you're doing here. So that's the way that white responds in a good way, right? So this is the right way to respond to the England Gambit. Now, I also said there was a bad way. What's the bad way? Well, the bad way is when they play bishop c3, attacking. It looks right? I mean, you're still defending everything. This is defended by the knight. This is defended, right? Not so right. You will lead with this very nice punch. Bishop b4, pinning, and they can no longer take you. They can no longer take they can no longer take your queen. Sorry. Welcome to editing problems and stuff. All right. They can no longer take your queen due to the pin. So a lot of people will play a move like queen d2. Now, this is where it gets really fun to kind of play it, I guess. I mean, it's already fun if you get this position. I mean, it's like if you just get to this position, it's already like mate in 3 or something if they don't know how to play it. You will take the bishop, they take, and then you checkmate them. Yeah, and that's literally mate. So yeah, this one's a fun one, and this is the 8th move for black, and yeah, and the game just ends in 8 moves, which is really fun. So this is a great one to play around with, and I mean it's a great one. And again, there have been lots of good videos that are out there. I mean, lots of videos out there probably on the England Gambit. I mean, I don't know for sure all of them, but I know that, you know, the top chess YouTubers have made some videos, so you should definitely check those out. They have definitely, I'm sure they've delved more deeply into it than I have, but this is just kind of like a quick crash course so you can get the idea. All right, last but not least, we are going to talk about the smothered mate. Now, the smothered mate is a very, 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 very famous mating pattern, and let's get into it right now. So let me pull up this board, and actually I'm going to edit this a little bit because I don't like how this looks. Please excuse me, I'll have to edit this quickly. All right, there we go. All right, so the smothered mate is a very, very famous mating pattern. You will play, actually, I kind of messed this up a little bit, so I might have to change this again. So just hang on a second here, please. All right, so here, and here. All right, this should be good. Okay, because I didn't want the black rook already checking. So I'll have to make a move for white. Okay. This one is a real fun one. In it, you will be playing the move. First, you'll play the move. You'll play the move queen g3 check. Okay? Now, king has to go into the corner to do this. And then you'll play... Alright, sorry, I had to edit the board a little bit again. Alright, so the smothered mate technique is a very famous technique. In it, actually, sorry, I have to edit it again. Okay. So let me see. Alright. Okay. And this was not there. Let's just put it there. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So the smothered mate technique. I've said that like 5 times in a row. Starts in this position. you'll move your queen to g3 check, right? King does not want to go there because the knight is defending that square and the queen can give mate, right? King does not want to get mated right away, or at all, preferably. So in this case, it'll move to a8. Now you will begin the process of the smothered mate. In this case, we will begin by moving the knight to c7, check, right? King has to move, so the king goes to b8. Now, you want to look for a double check. What do I mean by double check? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. You want to be checking the king with two pieces. Now, the double check is a very, very useful technique because if you are able to double check your opponent has to move the king. If you were checking with one piece, then your opponent could either move the king or block, right? I don't know, I'm looking over there. If you check your opponent with just one piece, then your opponent can move the king or block or take you. If you double check them, they have to move the king because there's two pieces attacking. So you want to look for a double check in this case. In this case, you can move the knight to a6. That's a double check, right? Knight is checking and queen is checking. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hypothetically, you could have moved the knight there. That's a check, and you would have picked up a free queen. That's a good move, but in this case, we're going for mate. We're not going for material, because mate is better than material. Again, I don't know why I'm looking over there. Mate is better than material in this case. So you want to be looking for a double check right there. Now, the king, again, does not want to go there, does not want to go here, because it'll be getting mated. Okay? Doesn't want to go there. King goes back. Okay? Now, we go with the beautiful shot, queen b8. Okay? Again, the king cannot take this because, the knight. So the rook has to take, okay? Because, the king has no legal moves apart from taking. And now we mate with the knight on c7. So, yeah, the king is smothered by his own army of rook and pawns, and this is a great, great tool to use against your opponents. This is this has been around for I don't know how many hundreds of years. I don't even know if it's been that long, but again, this has been around for a very long time. So this is a very famous technique. Again, I'll show you to you one more time. So in this position, you go queen g3. Again, they do not want to go here because they're getting mated, right? With the knight there. So they go to the corner. And now you check them. They have to move. And again, I know what you're thinking. You could take the queen, hypothetically, but in this case, we're going for mate, right? So you double check them. You have to double check them, and then have to move, and then you go here. All right? They have to take because they have no legal moves, and then you lead with knight c7 mate. So that about wraps up this this whole overview thing of mating techniques, I think. Again, I was trying to make it like a traps kind of video, but I think it works better as like a mating techniques tutorial, which I already wanted to make in the first place. So yeah, thanks all for watching, and make sure to check out my other videos. I'm just starting to post my beginner's tutorial on my channel. Go check that out, and then some other content of me playing chess and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.